Good evening, everybody. Tashi Delek. Okay, so last class we talked about the offerings. So you must know the order. So first, you really need to contemplate about the benefit or the advantage and disadvantage about samsara and nirvana. Also, if you contemplate many times suffering, the origin of suffering, cessation and to the path of cessation, then you will know the root of the samsara. The root of the sufferings are afflictive emotions and karma. The karma also arises from afflictive emotions or positive emotions. The both of them, afflictive emotions or positive emotion, both of them arise from ignorance. In order to eliminate the ignorance, we need the perfect, the right teacher who can teach us how to cut the root of the samsara, root of the sufferings. Therefore, when we think about who can teach us, who can introduce us how to cut the root of the samsara, then we can see the Buddha is the one who can explain us how to cut the root of the samsara, which is ignorance. Because Buddha Shakyamuni, all Buddhas, they also, many years ago, they were same as sentient being. Then they practiced Dhamma for many years. Finally, they eliminate the ignorance, practice emptiness, then achieve Buddhahood. So Buddha has gone through all the experience. Therefore, the Buddha is the best guide for us to explain how to cut the root of samsara. Therefore, we have to take refuge into Buddha. Then, as a very ordinary being, as a very simple human being, we don't have the good karma, good merit to see Buddha, to receive teaching from Buddha. Therefore, in this moment, so it is so important to rely on a perfect, the Guru, who has all the qualities, the qualifications of Guru. Second, yes, we able to take refuge into Buddha and Guru. Then number two, it is so important to follow their teaching. Number two is taking refuge into Dharma. Sometime we study Lamrim, we read a lot of sutra and other Buddhist teaching, but when we practice something else. This is totally mistake. Therefore, after you fully believe into Buddha, then you have to follow his teaching. So all the practices which we do our daily life, we must practice according to Buddha teachings, according to the commentaries on the Buddha teaching. If our practice always have done according to the Buddha teaching, then the practice always be perfect practice, perfect teaching. In order to practice the teaching, in order to follow, perfectly the teaching, then number 3, we need a, dharma friend. We need a, like a sangha who already have been practiced the dharma, who already achieved the arhat stage. Therefore, as a Buddhist, first we must recognize the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. After you fully recognize them, then you must know the qualities of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Then we must take refuge into them. Not only just taking refuge, at the same time, we must maintain the precepts, all the precepts. There's a common, uncommon, there's a many precepts, so we explain here. Then, in order to complete the practice, we need to eliminate negative karmas. We need to accumulate the positive karma. Also, we need to accumulate merit. There are so many different ways you can eliminate the negative karma, accumulate the positive karma. The best, rely on triple gems. Then all the practice for accumulating, practice for purification is very important. That's why you based on relying on Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, you can do the purification practice, the accumulation practice. Also, sometimes we think, yes, in order to accumulate, good merit, also we can do, simple practice, which is practice of giving things to other beings, also very good. So there's a big difference between, making offering to Buddha, making offering to ordinary being. The result is big difference. So when we think about offering, then we explain, or the Lamrim explains, 10 different types of offering. Within the 10s, then number 9, page number 198, in the last sentence, offering not contaminate with the afflictions or offering with the 6 quality. That means whatever we offer, the motivation, must be very pure, very clear. So should not contaminate with the any afflictions, any negative thoughts. Therefore, sometimes, we make offering because you have a sense of competition with your friends, your relative, or with someone. Then the offering, become very impure because the motivation is very impure. So whatever you make offering to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, whatever you make offering to other beings, it is so important to have very pure, very good, great motivation. The merit become great or middle, very small, is very much depend on motivation. That's why all practices is very much depend on your motivation. Then it explains, the 6 qualities. they are met. Manually by yourself, not making others do them out of contempt. Right? That means if you have a time, if you able to do it, you must do yourself. Should not ask other people to do for you. And should not be careless. Whatever you offer with a sense of very careful, should not be very careless. For example, when we offer in all the bowls, you must set up very straight and should not keep big gap between two offering bowls. If there's enough space, you should not touch the bowl each other. You must have a gap. And when you offer the offering, you must offer with a sense of respect, physically, mentally, verbally. Then laziness. We should not have a lazy mind when we make offering. Someday you think, I feel so tired, but I have to do my daily offering. That means you are become quite lazy. Whatever you're offering, you must make offering sense of happy mind, sense of concentration mind. Then respectfully, then without distraction. So that means when you make offering, in your hands you are holding something. Or if you don't holding any the material offering, also in your mind you have a lot of the imagine, the visualized offering. That means when you make offering, you should not have any distraction. You hold things in your hands, properly hold, respectfully hold. At the same time, based on the Buddha statues, based on the Tsong-kha, based on the picture, you visualize the merit field. You visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, Amida Buddha, Manjushri. Then make offering with a pure motivation. Should not have any distraction. Then should not, they are not mixed with the attachment, anger, pride, jealousy. Make sure when you make offering, should not have any attachment, desire, anger, hatred, pure mind, without expectation of receiving wealth and service from king and so on. That means we should not think, if I make an offering, I can have a lot of wealth, I can get something. You should think, whatever I offer to Buddha, offer to other sentient being, offer to becoming Buddha, to benefit all sentient beings. So you must remember the 6 qualities. Then number 10, offering of practice. Among the offering, the best offering is offering of your practice, your own practice. So that means, you just remember like 4 Noble Truths. Meditate on the 4 Noble Truths. You must remember the 4 seals, 4 Buddhist seals, and remember them, meditate on them. Also you remember the 4 immeasurable, emptiness, bodhicitta, great compassion, renunciation. For a short moment, you just practice them. Then all the practices, you can just imagine all the practices manifest as a flower, incense, fruit, clothes, water, beautiful flower. Then offer them, offer it to the merit fields. Among the offering, the best offering is the offering of practice, your own practice. When we think about practice, the practice can be this life, or the previous life, or before previous life. You remember, just imagine, so millions of years, sometime you practice Dharma. All the practice you can offer to, triple gems. Or then you're talking about the next one is so important. So it's explained the offering, the practice. Then after the paragraph, to make these 10 types of offering to the three jewels is to make a complete offering. The second aspect of offering, the altitude is follow. When you make these 10 types of offering, there are 6 altitude that will render immeasurable the result of even small offering to any of the three jewels. Right? Is the offering, the object is big, is small, it doesn't matter. If you have a great motivation, the offering becomes very great. So motivation is so important. Then you should make offering with the thoughts. So when you offering the things to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, you should think there's no higher field of good qualities. There's no higher benefactor. He is the best of all living beings. He is referred to the Buddha. He is the extremely rare, like on Udumvara flowers. According to Indian culture, they believe there's a flower, the name Udumvara. So the Udumvara, come into exist only one when Buddha come on the planets. Is so rare. Since only one Buddha appear in a universe of 3 billion world systems, that means within the 3 billions, the world system mean 1 billion to 3 billion, then the world is completely beginning, then end. They go 1 billion. So within 3 billions, then one Buddha appear. That's why so rare. He is the foundation of all mandans and supermandans. So we have 2 types of happiness. What is the mandan happiness? What is the supermandans? Whichever we want to achieve, we can achieve only relies on Buddha. So when you make offering, you must think, these 6. Then there's a mention one thing here, I think somewhere. I saw somewhere. Oh yeah, that means somewhere is mentioned. Usually, you must make offering every day. Particularly, you must make offering, when there's a auspicious day, very holy day. For example, Buddha birthday, day of the Buddha take into parinirvana, the day of the Buddha achieve enlightenment. So these days are so important. So we must make offering during the, particular, important occasions. Then next is quite easy. I ask you to read. And then also I ask you to do some homework based on the general characteristic of karma. Right? Page number 210. Without looking your Lamrim, can you remember the homework which I asked you? Number 1, certainty of karma. Number 2, magnification of karma. Number 3, number 4, okay, these 4 are so important because actual way in which to reflect the general. In general, the actual way of reflection, reflect on karma and its effect, right? It is so important. There's 4 points. Number 1, certainty of karma. Certainty of karma doesn't matter either positive or in negative karma. When you accumulate the positive karma, definitely you will experience the result, the certainty of karma. Then, related to this sentence, it said, right, certainty of karma means what types of karma you accumulate, you must experience the result is certain. Then look at, so we have many people practice, the Vajrasattva practice in order to purify the negative karma. There's a two kind of, views within the four Buddhist philosophical school. According to the Mahayana schools, Chitta Mantra and Madhyamaka school, they assert, they believe, when you practice Vajrasattva practices, when you practice for eliminating negative karma, they said you can eliminate the negative karma from the root. You don't have to experience the result if you do the proper practice. But other two schools, Vaibhashika and Sudantika schools assert, they said, doesn't matter how long practice you can do in order to eliminate negative karma, it minimizes. But at least you have to experience the short time for the result. There's a two views. So it doesn't matter, so generally you must think, since beginning less time, I have, accumulate lot of negative karma. I must eliminate. Otherwise, I need to experience all the result of negative karma. That means, number one, certainty of karma. Number two, magnification of karma. Right? That means the multiplication. So, for example, today, I have accumulated one negative karma. If I don't use particular practice for reducing, for eliminating, then the particular karma going to increase more and more. Right? But the positive karma cannot. It's a big difference. Magnification of karma. Number three, not experiencing the effect of action that you did not do. Right? Something you cannot experience which you haven't done. Number four, that the action you have done do not perish. So before we, talk each of them, so when we think about karma, positive or negative karma, it does not look like, there's a place you can store all the positive karmas and negative karmas. No. Whatever you have done by physical body, physically, verbally, mentally, you have done with the motivation, with the mental action. So when you have the positive mental action, you got positive experience within your mind. When you have negative action, the negative action done by negative motivation. When you have negative motivation, you got negative experience in your mind. When we say accumulate, you should not think, you are storing so many things in your mind. That means the more you practice positive action, the more you got positive experience, positive habit in your mind. The more you have done negative action, you got more negative habit in your mind. Therefore, so you have been doing all good things whole your life. You have been doing the action. Then when you are on the process of death, you are on the bed, you have serious kind of sickness, or even though you almost going to end this life. So due to whole life your positive action, positive experience, then you are able to maintain the positive mental attitude when you are on the process of death. But you have been doing a lot of negative things in your whole life. But when you are on the process of death, if you try to have positive mental attitude, you cannot. Because the negative habit is so strong. It's so difficult to have a positive mental attitude when you are a process of the death. Right? That means, when you say accumulate, mean you are putting more habits, positive or negative. Then also when you do practice for purification, that means you are putting a lot of positive, experience, positive kind of habits in your mind. When you got more positive habits, then the negative habits become lesser. Okay, so when you think about accumulating positive or negative, first motivation is so important. So these are quite certainty of karma, modification of karma, not experience the effect of action that you did not do. Then number 4, the action you have done do not perish. That means you must experience. So it's I think quite simple. You must remember the 4 points. Now we just go to the page number 216, the varieties of karma. Reflecting on the distinction among the varieties of karma, it has 2 parts. What are the 2 parts? Number 1, 10 paths of action, principal teaching of the 10 paths of action. Number 2, effect of actions. Okay, you must remember the points, the headings. So look at principal teaching of the 10 paths of action. 10 paths of action. So all the practices, okay, the Vajrayana practice, or the Bodhisattva practice, and the Hira and solitary realizer practice, all the practices depend on the 10, virtuous action. The 10 virtuous actions look like basic foundation. Without it, you cannot do any practice. That's why it's called the principal teaching of 10 paths of actions. Action. The principle of the 10 paths of action, look at the question, right? Question. Given that I have ascertained the causality of happiness and suffering as explained previously. This means, the negative karma, the negative actions are the cause of suffering. The positive actions are the cause of happiness. You really need to, you really need really good understanding of the relationship between positive action and happiness, the negative action and suffering. You should not just simply believe. You really think very often, many times, finally you have a strong conviction. Yes, if I have a negative karma, it will be cause to have a suffering. If I have a positive karma, it will be cause to have a happiness. Right? That's why look at whether you are Buddhist or non-Buddhist, you are believer or non-believer, you are human or non-human, everybody seeking happiness. Seeking happiness. If you don't want suffering, want only happiness, then what you need? You need positive actions. Positive actions. If you don't want suffering, you must eliminate the negative actions. Right? So it's so important, so basic, very foundation, very important. Look here. Previously I have understood that karma increase, that I will not meet with the result of action that I have not done, and the action I have done will not perish. About what sort of karma and effect should I initially develop certainty, which should I drop and which should I cast aside. Right? So when we talk about meditation, we always think about, we always think we need particular object, they fully absorb, fully focus. No. Also you must do a lot of meditation about positive action, happiness, negative action and suffering. You must, do a lot of meditation on two of them. Then finally you will have strong, conviction. Yes, negative karmas look like poison food. When I eat the poisoned food, I will get sick. Right? I will get sickness, no doubt. So when you have this kind of understanding, then when you think, when you close to engage in negative action, then you feel scared. Then you feel, don't want to engage in negative action. For example, everybody know, the king cobra has a very strong poison. So when you see king cobra, you scare. You are scared not the snake, because the snake have a very strong poison. When the poison go into your body, you're going to die. Right? That means, look like all the negative actions, doesn't matter small or big, all the negative actions look like king cobra, the snake. When you see snake, you feel scared. When you go closer to action in snake, you feel so scared, you try to run away. Right? That's why when you engage into negative action, you need that kind of sense of scare. You need that kind of strong conviction. So reply, right? In general, you can conclude that there are three ways to engage in good and bad conduct: physically, verbally, and mentally. That means there's only three ways to engage in good or bad conduct, or bad or good action. Only three. What we call three doors. We Tibetan use go sum, go like door, sum in three. Three doors. All the negative actions also come through three doors. All the positive actions also come through three doors, which is body, speech and mind. Right? Three doors. Then mentally, although that means all the actions, come through three ways or three doors. although not, it is important, although not all the virtues and non-virtues of these 3 ways are included within the 10 paths of actions. No, you must know the 10 paths of action we accumulate through the 3 doors. It doesn't mean all the positive and negative action must include into 10 paths of action. Okay? All action you cannot include into 10 actions. There are some action is positive action, negative action, but cannot include into 10 actions. Okay? You must differentiate. You should not think all negative actions include into 10 negative action. All positive action you should not think include into one of the 10 positive action. No. Right? Then look at, although not all the virtues and non-virtues of these 3 ways are included within the 10 paths of action, still the Buddha, the Bhagavan, right, summarizing the key points through the most obvious gross among the virtues or non-virtues as being the 10 paths of virtues and non-virtues actions. The gross actions, very obvious actions, include into 10 actions. Clear? 10 actions. That means you should think all action not necessarily include into 10 actions. The gross, the obvious, include into 10 actions. He thought that the extremely great foundation for a misdeeds are the 10 paths of non-virtuous action. He saw that when you give up these 10, when you give up the 10 non-virtues, you adopt the virtuous action. And that then the most important point of the virtuous action are also 10 in numbers. Therefore, he taught the 10 paths of virtuous action. Right? That means the 10 actions, the positive action is the very basic, very gross action. Also the positive, the 10 virtues also is a very basic, very foundation. So if you give up, if you not engage into 10 non-virtues, that means automatically you are engaging into 10 virtues. If you are not engaged into 10 virtues, that means somehow you are engaged into 10 non-virtues. That means, the 10 virtuous actions are the very important, very foundation. Without it, you cannot practice any practices. Right? Even though non-Buddhists, according to Hindu tradition, also, the 10 virtues are very important. They also completely practice 10 virtues, totally abandon the 10 non-virtues. It is exactly same. Then there's a lot of quotation. If you practice these 3 paths of actions, guarding your speech, being restrained mentally, and not committing physical non-virtues, you will achieve the path taught by sage. Right? That means you should not do any physical or verbally, mentally negative action. Then actually you will achieve the path which is taught by Buddha. Right? Even though you have been engaged into the non-10 virtues, you engage into 10 negative action, but you think I'm practicing Bodhisattva paths, I'm practicing Hirara paths, solitary reliance or path. You just saying or you thinking, actually you are not practicing any practices because you don't have the foundation. Right? That means since today you should think at the beginning, you must check your body, your speech, your mind. Make sure you are not engaged into negative action physically, verbally, mentally. Right? But physically you can see, it's quite obvious. That's why be always very careful. Make sure you're not doing physical negative action, verbal negative action. But the mental action, nobody can see it. Very easy to engage in. Right? Let me look at, first we talk about physical action, then verbal, then mental. There's an order. Among the three, the physical action is so obvious. Verbal is not that. If you compare verbal and mental, the mental is so subtle. There's an order. That's why you have to practice three, step by steps. So you must memorize this quotation. Then, knowing the 10 parts of non-virtuous action and their effects, restrain yourself from even being motivated to commit them. The practice the part of the action of 10 virtues in which your body, speech, and mind are not at all mixed with the parts of the non-virtuous action. That means first you must restrain your mind to engage into negative action. Also, all the positive action you should not mix with the parts of the non-virtuous action. That means, for example, you are reciting, like mantra. You are reciting mantra, or you are chanting. You are chanting some chant. But when I look at you, I can think, oh, he or she is really doing practice, reciting mantra, or he or she is really engaged in the positive action, right? But the motivation is wrong. While you are, chanting recite the mantra, doing chanting, and that moment, if you have some other negative thoughts, then the action never be pure action. It's already mixed with the negative thoughts. This was, for many people think, practicing 10 virtues is very easy. No, it's not easy. When you practice one, just one virtues, at the beginning you need the right motivation. The motivation you must maintain until you complete the practice. At the end, what you need the dedication. Right? Then when we do practice, we call, broken mouth and tear nose. Broken like mouth and tear nose. That means when you look at the face is not complete. Something, somebody nose is tear, somebody mouth is broken, is not complete. That means all our practices are like that. Sometimes we have a good motivation, but we don't have the good motivation when we are really practicing Dharma. Sometimes we have a right kind of mental altitude when we are doing practice, but at the beginning the motivation wasn't good. So even though just having complete pure one, the virtuous action is not easy. Of course, having 10 complete pure virtues is not easy. Therefore, before you practice any high practices, higher Tantrayana practices, sadhana or bodhicitta, renunciation, emptiness, vulnerability, whatever, before you do any practices, first you must do the good 10 virtues practice. Try to have a complete and pure. That means you have a quite good foundation. There's a one, I remember somewhere, there's a what say? I will just read the sentence, you don't need to worry about page number. Since our practice is such as that we cannot even think of a supreme field of merit as we would an ordinary field, we should always strive to make offering to three jewels. By doing so, our mind's power with respect to the stage of the path will increase. As a result of strengthening of the root of the virtues grow in this excellent field or merit. Therefore, when our mind's power is so weak that we cannot retain the word, when we study and understand the meaning, when we reflect or gain knowledge, when we meditate, we should rely on the power of field of the merit. This means, look at, when we try to understand the meaning of impermanence, when we try to understand the meaning of virtues or non-virtues, we don't understand at all. Yes, due to our effort, due to our positive karma, we understood the meaning of virtues, non-virtues, emptiness, impermanence. But we cannot reflect again and again because our karma is so weak. Our mind is so weak. Yes, you can understand, you can reflect on them, but you cannot do meditate. You cannot do meditation. You cannot meditate on them because our mind is so weak, our positive action is so weak. So that moment, what you should do, you should not be just unhappy about your practices. You should not just be unhappy about you are not understanding any dharma. That moment, simply you just fold your hands, just pray to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, or you just make a light offering. You make a incense offer. You just make small offering to the merit field. Visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, particularly visualize Manjushri. Then you make a light offering to Manjushri and pray to Manjushri to remove all the obstacle to understand, the Dharma, all the obstacle. Also you make offering to the merit field in order to accumulate merit. Due to offering the simple offering, then you will understand. You can have a more clear understanding. You can able to reflect. You are able to meditate on. Therefore, it's so important to strengthen your mind. You can strengthen through your practice, mainly practice of offering, practice of prostration. That's why I told many times, even though Lama Tsong-kha-pa, when he was very young age, he can have a vision of Manjushri. Or even though then somehow he had communication with Manjushri, he can see Manjushri, he can receive teaching, but he has a great difficulty to understand emptiness. Then he asked question to Manjushri, I try to understand emptiness, but I cannot understand. What should I do? The reply, you must practice, you must combine two practices, which is purification and accumulation. Purification, accumulation. So as a beginner of practitioner, as a beginner of Lamrim practitioner, we must do these two practices. Purification, accumulation. Accumulation, purification. You must do together. If you do only purification, is purify negative karma, it doesn't mean your mind become more, strong. Your wisdom become more, wise and sharper. No, you must do two together. That's why Lama Tsong-kha-pa has these difficulties. Then he left, his disciple. He just took only 8 disciples among the many disciples. He took only 8, and he went for retreat at the Olka Chulu in Tibet. Then what he did 2 things together: prostration, making offering mandala. That's why every day he did 100 or 1000 of prostration, the long one. At the same time, he did lot of mandala offering. And that time he didn't have any the golden mandala, the mandala silver mandala. No, he make offering mandala on the stone, on the big rock. Due to this practice, whole his arm is tear, right? Tear, become warm. So he did, this kind of practice. Even though he can see Manjushri, he received teaching from Manjushri, but he still need to purify all the negative karma. Of course, we are totally, our mind is full of negative karma. We must need this kind of practice. So, of course, some of you do mandala offering. Remember? So I will shortly explain a mandala. So this is the mandala, the ground, the basis of the mandala. You just hold a few grains of rice, barley, or like a small stone, hold it, and second you hold the basis. Then hold little bit this grains or stone or rice, you put little bit here, then you do like 1, 2, 3 times. And put little bit and inside 3 times. 3 times. Okay. When you do the this way, you go anti-clockwise, right? Anti-clockwise. You need to think, I'm purifying my physical action, negative action. I'm purifying my mental negative action. I'm purifying my verbal negative action. Purifying, like clean. Then when you do this, I'm accumulating my physical action, verbal action, and mental action, positive action. Also, I am receiving, blessing from Buddha body, mind, and speech. You must use this one. You clean the mandala this way. Then you put little bit. Then you put the first ring. You must know, the 4 direction, 4 continents. The second, then things. Then finally, then sun and moon. Then you just hold the mandala with the 2 hands like this. When you hold, you just imagine you are facing towards the merit field, whichever you visualize the merit field. You can visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, you can visualize Manjushri, you can visualize your own root guru, visualize and just offer the mandala to the merit field. You offer for purifying negative karma. You offer for accumulating merit. So when you offer mandala, you just think, I'm offering all my belongings, manifest as a mandala. I offer all my practices, manifest as a mandala to the merit field in order to purify my all negative karmas, in order to accumulate all positive actions. And just offer the mandala and pray to your guru, Buddha, said, please bless me. Please bless me to understand Lamrim, to practice Lamrim, to practice bodhicitta, renunciation. Just, request them. Then, at the end, you can put the mandala on the altar, on the table, or you just dismantle. When you dismantle, you must dismantle in like this. This means, dismantle inside, not inward, not outward. So this is so important practice you must do. Okay, there's the 10 virtues. Now there's a lot of quotation. So when you read Lamrim, okay, I told many times, it has a lot of quotation. Each of the headlings, each of the parts, they're always a statement by Lama Tsong-kha-pa himself. Statement. Then he, tried to approve. This is taught by a Buddha. This is taught by all the Indian master. This is taught by all the other Tibetan master. That's why he put all the quotation. You must know, just before Lama Tsong-kha-pa in Tibet, the Buddhism become very kind of mixed with the bamboo, very strange practices, become very impure. So one reason Lama Tsong-kha-pa came to Tibet in order to, purify all the misunderstanding of practice of Dharma. So that's why he really, make a right statement. That he put all the quotation. He proved this is the right Buddha teaching. So you must know which one is statement. You must know, why all this quotation is so important. Then next, page number 217, the question of the Naga king of the ocean state. What I have called virtues are the top root of the perfection of all deities and human. They are the top root of the enlightenment. Then look at Charvaka, Pradika Buddha. They are the top root of the unexalted, perfected enlightenment. What are this top root? They are the 10 virtues action, right? That means the 10 virtues action is the root for all deities and human, for their perfections. When you practice first perfection of generosity, first you must practice the 10 virtues. When you wish to practice, perfection of ethical discipline, you must practice the 10 virtues. If you wish to achieve liberation or nirvana, still you need to practice the 10 virtues. If you wish to achieve Buddhahood, the perfect enlightenment, you must practice the 10 virtues. Those are the foundation. You cannot, deny, you cannot just simply ignore. Then there's a lot of quotation again. The meaning is similar. Now we go little bit detail. Page number 218. The determination of effect of actions. There are 3 parts of the determination of the effect of action: non-virtuous action and their effects, virtuous action and their effects, presentation of other classification of karma. Non-virtuous action and their effect, it has 3. What are they? Distinction of which and of effect. Now it's so important. Look at the actual parts of the non-virtuous action, the distinction of which. Number 2 is important. Next we will spend little time with the number 2, distinction of the which. Number 3, exposition of the effect, what kind of result it has. Now without your looking, of course everybody knows the 10 non-virtues. What are they? Physically, how many? 3. What are they? Killing, stealing. Yeah, number 3. Then verbally, Hmm?
Lying,
Lying,
speech, offensive speech, senseless speech.
senseless speech. Okay. Mentally,
3.
what are they? Wrong view. 3 doors, physically 3, verbally 5, 4, mentally 3. It is not just enough to remember the number. Next, you must know what does mean. Particularly, what is the differences between the 3, negative action from 3 mental actions. Then there's a 4 verbal. There's a very difficult to distinguish, each of them. Now we learn little bit, very basic thing, killing, right? Killing. What is killing? The compendium of the determination teach this is 5 categories. What are the 5? Basis, perception, altitude, affliction, conclusion. Actually, the compendium of determination explain the killing by 5 categories: basis, perception, altitude, affliction, conclusion. Next, look. However, you can condense the middle 3. Middle 3 which are perception, altitude, affliction. Generally, there's 5, right? Basis, perceive, altitude, affliction, conclusion. However, you can condense the middle 3, mean perception, altitude, affliction, condense into where? 3 into categories of altitude, okay? And add the categories of the performs to give a conduce, then presentation of each of the part to actions. That means generally there's a 4 categories. What are the 4? Basis, altitude, performance, culmination. Okay? Next, all the action explained from, by 4 categories. Basis, altitude. Altitude you have a 3, right? What are they? Perception, motivation, affection, right? When you think about altitude, think about the motivation, think about the affliction, think about what? Motivation, perception, affliction. It's easy to understand, and there is no contradiction between it and the intention in Asanga teaching. Among these, the basis of killing is being who is alive. Moreover, the level of yogi deeds as its qualification, other as another living beings. So, what is the basis? What is the basis of the killing? Killing means killing what? Killed who is alive, then other living being. Not just if you kill yourself, you not consider it's a killing. We say commit suicide. Killing means you must kill other living being, not use yourself. Okay, that basis. Then we in Tibetan language we add little bit add what we say, other human or become human, human or became human, human and become human. Generally human, we say complete people, right? For example, we believe, the concept time concept, right? So when we have a baby, so, when you have a concept, the two eggs and what you call sperm come together. No, egg and sperm here come together. Then we say, okay, he or she has a baby, right? According to like Tibetan tradition, also according to Buddhist tradition, we believe is also human, became human, but it doesn't have all the hands and legs, but still considered as a human. That's why if somebody do the abortion, that means we consider killing human. That means human or became human. The basis. Then basis. The perceiving is the basis. Then altitude. Altitude has a three, right? What are the three? Perception, motivation, afflictions. Now the perception is so important. Look, it has a three. Number one, what's the number one? Perceiving a living being to be a living being. Number two, perceiving a living being not to be a living being. Number three, not living being, not to be living being. This means you must have the right perception. That means, for example, I wish to kill Mr. A. Then mistakenly I kill Mr. B. Mr. A and B, look similar. They were same dress. That I have a mistake. I thought I want to kill Mr. A. Mistakenly I kill whom? Mr. B. That means I have a wrong perception. Wrong perception. But it can have a complete negative action. But the action cannot be complete, the killing action. That means you must have a right perception. Then their example, right? In some case, there may be specific motivation. For example, someone may plan to kill only someone, called what? Devardada. And he or she then commit murder. However, if the person mistake Yajana Dada for Devadada and kill him instead, he is supposed to kill whom? Devadada. Mistakenly, he or she kill Yajana Dada. There is no actual sins in such as action of killing. They not consider as such as the killing action within the 10 non-virtues, because requires as a accurate perception. Here's a particular motivation, that particular mistaken he kills someone else. But if that time of the performance the killer has a general motivation. Okay, if at the time of the performance the killer has a general motivation, thinking that no matter what happens, he or she will kill, accurate perception is not necessary. That means sometimes somebody has a very particular want to kill Mr. A, mistakenly kill B. Somebody say, I don't care, Mr. A or B, I want to kill. Then it doesn't matter who killed Mr. A or B, the person can have a complete the killing action. So that's why the perception is so important. Then affliction. In any of three mental poisons, what are they? Three mental poisons. What are they? Ignorance, attachment, anger, aversion or hatred. Okay? Here must say ignorance, attachment and anger or aversion. Okay, this. Now, many people has a bit misunderstanding attachment and liking. I like. That means consider the person has an attachment. When you say I like something, then that means you have and on the basis you have what kind of attachment. Without attachment, many people think you cannot have a sense of like. This means in order to know what one is attachment, what one is non-attachment, you must know the definition of attachment, definition of anger, definition. As a homework, somehow you need to know the definition of attachment. Attachment. Then ignorance, So that's why you must learn the definition of ignorance, attachment, aversion. Definition. Then for you very clear what does mean ignorance, what does mean attachment, what does mean aversion. If you don't have you don't know the definition, then you don't have a clear, a right understanding of three poison mind. Definition. Then the nature. Then these are afflictions. Any of the three mental poison, and the motivation is the desire to kill. Desire to kill. So the person has a desire to kill the person, someone, but still they have a ignorance as well as they has a aversion. Motivation, desire. Motivated by desire, kill person, complete with the aversion, anger. Look, as for the performance, it makes no difference whether the performance do themselves or cause someone else to do it. Doesn't matter you yourself kill or you ask someone to kill for you, but still you accumulate, the negative karma. For example, I ask Mr. C go kill Mr. A. I ask the person to kill, him or her, kill. Then that time I lead a life. I do, practice compassion, bodhicitta. I'm doing practice. I know somebody going to kill someone. I ask to kill. But I'm doing what? I'm doing practice. That time my mind is positive. When the person killed, dead, at the same time I already accumulate negative action. That means within simultaneously you can have two actions, positive and negative. I myself accumulating what? Positive action. When the person completely kills someone, at the same time I accumulate negative karma. Okay? No need to kill by yourself. You can ask someone to kill, still you can accumulate the killing actions. Then the last one, the culmination is the death of the another. It's a death of another, right? On account of the performance, either the pawn in the time of another pawn in the time future. So for example, I ask someone to kill, and I gave money or I gave something to someone for killing someone. The person tried to kill someone, it takes, it passed 1 or 2, 3, 10 years, after 10 years they killed, but still I got the negative karma. Negative karma. Even though, I asked someone to kill someone, then after a few days I dead. Then I was already born in somewhere, and the person killed. But I got the negative karma even though in my next life. Right? That's why you should not think, the karma must be done this life. That's why It's so important, we must know. Then, according to Buddhist culture, people pass away, our relatives or someone pass away. So we do a lot of prayer or chanting or a lot of practice to benefit the people who pass away. Then the person, take a rebirth as a human. Then the person who are facing a lot of problem in next life, family problem, economic problem, lot of problems. Someday you can see the person life totally change. They are very poor, suddenly become rich. Sometimes, you can see they are very rich, life is very smooth, suddenly change. Because the previous karma follow after him or her. Also relative, someone always do lot of prayers for. That's why this life become better. Or sometimes you can see the life become very, messy. Because someone do lot of negative prayer for you. Also you got the effect. Right? For example, someone passed away 10 years ago, but you still remember, right? You have a sense of hatred. You hate them continuously. That's why he or she got the negative karma in next life. That's why you thought, it's miracle, what happened? Oh, I didn't have anything, suddenly I become rich. Oh, what happened? Until now my life is so good, so smooth. Suddenly it's totally changed. Because you know how the karma follow after you. Okay? So, next as a homework is for you must remember the 10 non-virtues. You must remember the 4. The basis, altitude, performance, and number 4, conclusion. Okay, basis. For example, stealing. What is the basis? What is the altitude? Altitude has a 3: motivation, perception, then affliction. Then how is conclude? How is complete? You must know all the 4 things for the 10 non-virtues. Okay, what are the 4 things? Basis.
Perceptions.
No. Altitude. Then performance, conclusion. Basis mean, for example, when you talk about kill what? Motivation. The altitude has a 3: perception, altitude, affliction. For example, killing motivated by desire, complete by affliction. One of the affliction which is hatred. Then how is conclude? How is complete? When the person completely dead, then your action is complete. Right? Killing, the stealing also the basis, altitude, performance, conclusion. You must learn, all 4, each of the negative actions. Then the opposite you can apply as a positive actions. Because next we will have a new subject about the wedge, right? Number 2, I think number what?
4-7.
Number 3, 2-3, the distinction of the wedge. Page number 218. Then is talk about the non-virtues. It has 3 parts. The actual parts of the non-virtues actions you must complete as a homework. Then distinction of the wedge. Heavy or light. How it become heavy, how it become light, how it become medium. So we will start from the number 2. Number 2, start page number where? Number 2. 2, to 7.
Diction of faith.
Okay, diction, yeah, 2 to 7. So we will start the next lesson, 2 to 7. Mainly we learn, distinction of wedge. Okay, so we can stop here today class. So please everybody do good homework. Also, be more serious about your study, and also very important to be more serious about your practice. Okay? So thank you so much. So we will do the dedication prayers.